My name is Meg Miller. I am from North Idaho, just kind of traveling artist. I've been exploring things like farming, yoga, shamanism, and studying acting to find the most integration for myself. I was experiencing a very significant disconnection from my body. Uh, my soul is like up here, and I had a very serious eating disorder. Actually, I was diagnosed with needing like a intensive inpatient treatment. But I decided to take kind of the shamanic route instead, and I first went to try ayahuasca, and that helped, but not really. I needed more like grounding, and so then I found the Iboga, and so it was really the eating disorder symptoms and this disconnection from myself. There's this like driving force that I couldn't tap into that would push me to the food to eat, to swallow it down. It was just a lot of stuff in my throat. So once the Iboga like took that blockage out, or helped me to get that block out, um, yeah, the like severity of symptoms went way down, and they didn't disappear, but it made it manageable for me to like take the next steps to keep the emotional processing going. I have been stable within the eating disorder for 2 months now. Not without, I mean, I've had some slight like relapses, but nothing like it's been. And that's like the most time stable I've had in like 9 years. So it's like this whole new reality. Like my body's like able to stand up, and I'm still getting my grounding, my feet under me for sure. But I'm like able to stand on my own 2 feet more than ever in my life. And it's a little overwhelming because I'm like, well, I exist. I'm real. I can't believe it. I'm still getting used to it. It's awesome. It's been also most improved it's ever been. Like I'm aware of it is the thing. Like if something like an anxiety comes in my stomach or my chest or my throat, I'm able to like stay with it and not like kick. I mean, it's still like that. It was that way for my whole life, which like just disconnect. So it's like it still can happen for a moment, but then I'm like, oh, just come back in. It's just a small blockage. You can handle it. And and it's nothing like there's no more like huge volcanoes. So yeah, it's very manageable. The first one was definitely like the bulimia and the eating disorder. And then the second one was just wanting to continue this track. Like I knew there were things in my life that needed to change. I was working in a restaurant after the first retreat, which was good because I was like facing my fears of the food and people. But then Iboga was like, okay, it's time to change now. And so after that retreat, I took off and hit the road, um, and did like some traveling with places where my family used to live, and it was kind of like connecting with roots. And then I had another ceremony that helped me kind of integrate all that travel and continue to help with the emotions that were coming up because the symptoms were still there slightly. Last retreat was after some several months I did in acting school, and so it was just like that last one was a really good reset because I had a lot of emotional expression that happened in acting school, and it was pretty like I guess disheveling is kind of the word, and it just like helped reset my soul back in my body and be present again. I was holding a lot of tension in my body, uh, and it helped me to first just kind of like dive into the tension, which felt like an ocean of like screaming people. But it just, I don't know, it held enough space for me to like just accept, okay, here's what you're dealing with. Let's go. Spiritually, it connected me with my higher self. It brought my soul into my body and into all that tension to begin working with it. Emotionally, it's like it pulled a cork out of my throat because all that tension was always blocked childhood experiences that I couldn't get back to, like, and so the Iboga, it was able to bring all that out, and it was like this kind of emotional volcano that just is like got out, and it was such a relief. Yeah, mentally, I found a lot more space and freedom. It was so quiet after my first ceremony. I couldn't believe how quiet it was. It was amazing. Yoga and like body movement have been a big one. But actually, even like before that, is just connecting with nature. Um, and so like I barefoot walking is big for me, and just like touching the earth. I guess that like goes back to the farming too. But doing that, and then like the teachings that from the Bwiti tradition about the mind and making sure your mind stays in the positive versus the negative. So every day I do like these affirmations every morning that take about 10 minutes. They're just like aligning my like mind, heart, body in like positive beliefs. It just helped me like stay on that track, especially emotionally, like remembering that I am like balanced and able and aware of my emotions and able to navigate them in a positive way. It's like the channel that the Iboga grooved for my like higher self to connect into my body and continue the practices has been very strong too. The circles around the fire before the ceremonies, I would always take notes, and I always come back to those two things that that were said of don't abuse nature and don't become attached. Um, those two have been key. I always come back to those. They seem to be applicable in any setting. If I'm feeling like diseased or ungrounded, it's because I'm either like becoming attached to my thoughts or my expectations of what things should be. And then it's like, oh, I just come back to my heart. Or then I remember don't abuse nature, and like my body is nature and how I need to breathe first off and treat everything with respect and compassion. It was actually the ayahuasca opened me up enough that I was on my way home flying back from Peru, and this messenger from Iboga came to me and was like, hey, I'm a plant medicine spirit, and you should pursue this. And I was just like, oh, okay. So I knew there was some kind of plant medicine in Africa I had to go find. And it wasn't until several months after I got back that I remembered that. I was like, oh, and I researched, Googled, and I found Iboga. And that's how I got connected. Oh man, it's so rapid. It's like it connects you, and at the same time gives you this like separate view of like your whole operating system, like a computer, and it just starts digesting everything so fast that you weren't able to do by yourself. And it's like I feel this barometer of my body just like deflating as it goes through the ceremony. And I'm like, whoa, my space is back, and it's like a miracle. It's like magic. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I love the Bwiti healing team because from the moment I met you guys, you all are very grounded, and I could tell you had all done your work with the medicine. And so that was important because Iboga holds space for you too, but like to have team members who can hold that space for you to like heal into was huge. So I knew like I was just walking in your guys' footsteps as well. And you've done a lot of work, all of you, and you're so supportive and so compassionate and so human and relatable, and so many more things I could say. I would say not to let your fears like make your decision to explore with Iboga, because nature is like the highest intelligence. And I think to well, for me, plant medicine it's like a very humble step to like be like, okay, I'm human and I've taken these steps outside of nature and it messed me up. And so to get back to nature, um, you know, being able to exit the fear structures of your mind and embrace the unknown into healing. Yeah, you can always trust nature and Mother Earth. And that's the big thing I learned on the retreat, is that I am from Mother Earth. We are all from Mother Earth. Our bodies are, and our spirits want to like balance in that. And Iboga is amazing for it. One other thing is that I have a book coming out soon, which I talk about the Iboga experience that I had more in depth, and more of the traditions also behind the Bwiti culture and the teachings around the fire circle. So if you are interested in that and my story, you can buy my book, which will be available later this month. It's called When, and it's my journey of soul retrieval. So hopefully you can enjoy that. Yeah, you bet, Erica. Thank you, everybody, and all the Iboga you helped me with. Couldn't have done it without you guys last year. Holy moly.